And welcome to Talk Truly, podcast done by Truly Effortless Events. My name is Ed Calais. I'm over here in Ringgold, Georgia, at Area 52 Media Group, and this is Talk Truly. Today we have Dawn Lamette from Dishin with Dawn, she is a private chef, caterer. She wears so many hats, a super networker. You name it, Dawn does it, and she knows the people who do it anyway. So, welcome to the show, Dawn.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So, Lamette, it's a French name. I have to ask, what brought you to Tennessee?
Oh gosh, I've kind of lived all over the place, really. I got married in '88, dating myself, and that's totally fine. And we moved a lot of different places. My husband, he's my late husband, was French, and so we moved all over. We started out in Le Havre, which is in Normandy, France, on the English Channel.
Oh, wow.
And then we moved to Orlando and Washington, D.C., and Georgia, a couple of different places in Georgia, and then Paris, France, and then North Georgia, and then Chattanooga.
Well, you must be fluent in French, I take it.
Oui, je suis très.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So when you were in France, is that where you went to culinary school, or?
I didn't actually go to culinary school. I studied under my brother-in-law, who's Bruno Cordier, and he had a restaurant and bakery. So I worked with him and learned from him, and just a lot of just passion for cooking. I love people through food. So learning different recipes, making my own recipes. I've just always loved cooking for people.
Oh, well, how long have you been in Tennessee?
9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
Well, one thing, you're kind of like the local person when it comes to, oh, you want that French, cuisine.
Yes.
Everybody, talks about you. Well, your last name kind of
Yes.
says it all, Lamette.
Yeah.
What's one thing that you like about Chattanooga?
I love everything about Chattanooga. Even after living in Normandy and Paris, I love Chattanooga. It's the place to be. It's very down to earth. It's family oriented. It's just friendly, and there's so much to do here. I just love Chattanooga.
So in the culinary world, I mean, of course you do catering for weddings and
Yeah.
parties and stuff like that.
hmm
I know, and my wife's not going to be watching this one. You're going to be actually coming to my home on her 50th birthday that morning to cook with her daughters to
Yes.
teach them how to do uh
Eggs Benedict.
eggs Benedict,
I don't know. You want to throw in some bananas Foster? The kids can flambe something in the kitchen. That'd be fun.
Well, I'm telling you, look, it's one of the daughters, she is going to be right there just like soaking on every word,
I love
and
it.
probably every day after we'll be cooking stuff. Like we'll
I
wake
love
up,
it.
especially during the summer, we'll wake up and she'll wake up in the middle of the night and just start cooking something.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a girl after my own heart.
Yeah, and
I love that.
that's what she does.
Mm.
But every time it's like Mother's Day or her birthday
hmm
or anything, and if they want to do something special for their mom, it's eggs Benedict
Aw.
because she loves eggs Benedict. But they cannot get it right.
There's a technique to it for sure.
There is
Yeah.
so much technique to it, and
hmm
I think you taking the time and going like, okay, do this and do this.
hmm
I'll be honest with you, I can't wait to see how they react to it, and then her reaction to it. It's going to be amazing as well.
So they know that we're doing this,
Yes, they know that we're doing
and
this.
they're keeping a secret.
They're keeping it a secret.
That's
Well,
awesome.
with kids sometimes, half the time they just want to, okay, let's see if we're going to really do it.
Yeah.
They don't want to get too excited.
Right.
But, as my wife has kind of now been trained is, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
hmm
You know, every once in a while life throws a curveball,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we always make it right. And I'm going like, oh, well, this is going to be a great idea. When I
I
when I
love it.
told my sister-in-law, she was going like, she's going to be out of town. She is going to be in Washington at the time, but she's like kind of sad that she's missing it.
Oh, no. Well, we'll have to do it again for her.
I know, right? Well, she
Yeah.
lives in Toledo, Ohio.
Oh, well, if she comes to visit.
Yeah. So tell me some other cool things that you've done in
Oh,
Chattanooga that's like not normal.
not normal?
Yeah.
You mean besides cooking?
Besides cooking,
Oh,
well, you could
gosh.
do cooking. You know, you could have
Yeah.
some fun events, or can you ever cater to tiddlywink contest?
Tiddlywink contest. One of my favorite things to do is to participate with Taste with the Kidney Foundation. They
Really.
have that every year, and we were invited to be in the VIP section this year. And I absolutely love that because, first of all, the Kidney Foundation has a near and dear place in my heart. My sister is a kidney recipient. And so she's my partner in crime with the business. So that's a lot of fun. But I love doing that. And that's once a year. And all the proceeds go to the Kidney Foundation, which is just amazing to me. I absolutely love that. Another thing that we love, love, love to do is we love to cook for the firemen. Yeah, because in 2020, my house was hit by that tornado and the firemen were on it like that. So, as a thank you to our heroes, our first responders, we like to take a nice home cooked meal to different fire stations. So, that's kind of fun. We love that.
You
And they
know,
love a home cooked meal.
one thing about fire stations, they've
Mm.
become like, watching all these cooking shows, they've become like the hotspot of some, amateur chefs, because
Mm.
they're just stuck there. They're going like, oh, well, we're going to get fancy.
We're going to cook it up.
We're going to cook it up.
That's right.
Yeah, that
I
would,
love it.
that to me, you should start a thing that you're doing cooking lessons for firemen.
Yeah.
That would be
Hmm.
funny
Yeah.
and
That'd be
fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
So what other things have you done?
What other things? I just love catering like intimate parties, sit down dinners with like 7 or 8 courses for friends, maybe up to 12 people. I love that. That's just so much fun. I love to obviously cook French food because it's so unique and you don't have a real, let's go have a good, authentic French meal. I think there's a place here somewhere that does French cooking, but not like I was trained or learned. And so it's just a lot of fun to do that.
Well, also, and we're going to go back to all your cooking, but I want to touch base on one thing. In business, you're always just meeting people.
Hmm.
Networking is one thing that is necessary when it comes to business. And
Yeah.
you know, you started, a group called Morning Cup.
Mhm.
So I want to hear the story behind Morning Cup, and then we'll talk about what it's become.
I love it so much. So, there used to be a group that met at Maple Street Biscuit on Gun Barrel, way before COVID, and it was doing really good. It was every Tuesday morning at 8:30. It was doing really good. Then they stopped it because they were meeting in the evenings at the Moxie. So just before COVID, I said, "Well, you know what? I really want to just start it up again." So we were like 4 people for weeks, just 4 people. But then it grew and grew and grew to like 30 people. And then COVID hit. So then, after that, it was just kind of like, okay, as soon as we can get back in there. And now we have anywhere between 20 and 30 people. We always have new people at Morning Cup Networking. And it's like I said, it's at the Maple Street Biscuit on Gun Barrel Road at 8:30 in the back room, and we have a ball. It is, I it's like my church because we're family now. Because the regulars that come, we're family. We would do anything for each other. So it's more than networking. It's really being there for each other, recommending, referring each other. It's a wonderful place to meet for an hour and get referrals and talk about what you do.
There's a lot of friends that I've made at Morning Cup, and in
Yeah.
fact, you and I, of course, uh,
Yeah.
you've been to, you know, Truly Realtor, and I'll tell you what, the amount of people that came to me and said, "Oh my God, that food was so
Oh,
amazing." You know,
Truly Realtor was amazing.
yeah,
Yeah, it was your pilot, and it was amazing.
yeah.
Great people.
Looking forward to our second Truly Realtor in November.
Mm. Me too.
It's gonna be great.
It was fantastic. You did such a good job. You pay attention to a lot of detail, and you walk in and you feel welcomed and you feel like this is going to be great just from the second you walk in. So props to you.
Yeah, that was 150 realtors. We had a close to 100 vendors.
Mhm.
This year, I think it's going to be stronger because we have continuing education going on before it. So
Nice.
we have a local realtor that's pre-known that's going to be one of the speakers, and he's going
Nice.
like, you thought you had realtors there, you're going to have a ton there now,
That's
even more.
awesome.
You know,
I love
but
it.
thanks for being a part of that.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
amazing.
fun.
Um, did you get business from it?
I
That's
did. I got a couple of weddings. And
really
yeah, I did. I had people come up and say, "Hey, we're getting married," and da 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 da. And I was like, "Great, let's talk." So I have one coming up I've done one from there, and then I have one coming up in October. That was there. He's a
wow.
realtor.
That is all. The thing about any of events is it's kind of like it's not on the spot. You're gonna get
Mhm.
stuff. It's always like, well, as networking, you're
Yeah.
planting that seed,
Mm.
and you have to water it. Well, I guess
Mhm.
that's a lot of that's the South. It's
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
you have to go to the speed of business that's in the town that you're in.
Mhm.
Uh, and I had a couple of people going like, "Oh man, I thought I was gonna get business right there." No, but then I have people like Zach Bowman, who
Yeah.
said he's just built his business off of that first event
Mhm.
really strong. I was talking to him this morning because we had some stuff that had to get done around the house. He goes, "Man," he goes, "I'm getting to where like I'm hiring more people." So
Nice.
it takes a little time. It's
Mhm.
just how people are always curious to see how long you're going to be around
Yep.
before they do business with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just how it goes. You
Mhm.
know, so back onto the catering side of it. Tell me about some corporate events that you've done.
Corporate events. We do, gosh, we do well, luncheons and things like that. We do some luncheons where we bring in food, corporate events. I don't know.
So, have you ever done a lunch and learn?
No, we haven't done a lunch and learn. We do lunches for like doctors' offices and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually catered downstairs at the winery for a company, a real estate company that was for Christmas, and that was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, they were supposed to have another event like this past week, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I think it got postponed.
Mm,
Yes, that's how it goes sometimes. But
yeah.
um, lunch and learns in real estate. This is one thing
Yeah.
that's a market, man. I could see you just blowing
Yeah.
up in.
I did a taco bar for about 100 people at a Keller Williams downtown office, and got one of the guys has hired me like 3 times. So that was kind of nice. It wasn't a lunch and learn. It was just like, "Hey, we're just offering you lunch," or whatever they asked us to do it.
Yeah,
So that was cool. That was very cool. But everybody's busy, so they pop in, they get their food, and then they leave. And very few people actually come and talk to you. But you put your card out there, and you never know.
yeah. Well, being in Chattanooga, I'm going to ask you,
Mm.
what's your favorite restaurants?
Ha! I like St. John's.
Hmm.
Which level are we talking?
Well, just give me any level that you want.
Okay,
One's your
I like St.
favorites.
John's. I love the Boathouse.
Yeah.
I was there last night and it's really good. Really good. Scotty's on the River is pretty good. Gosh, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just I like a lot of them. There's some that I'm just like, well, I could do that at home.
I know that you and I actually went to a grand opening of a restaurant in Ottawa.
Oh, that smash burger. Oh, the pork chop.
Yeah, the pork chop was so amazing.
Oh my god, everything's good there.
Yeah, he opened up another restaurant right there.
Okay, let me tell you something about him. We can throw his name out there, right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
We're talking about Martha Ann's
Right?
and Joe Mama's.
Joe Mama's. We went to Joe Mama's. My grandson is allergic to soy.
Mhm.
And we thought we could find something at Joe Mama's with no soy, but no. But you know what the owner did? Go ahead and throw his name out there.
Uh,
I know I'm trying to
yeah, I
remember it.
just
It
got a
doesn't
mind blank.
doesn't matter. The main point, the main thing is that this man went over to Martha Ann's because they have products without soy, cooked for my grandson, brought it back to Joe Mama's so he could eat too. I mean,
Wow.
that's outstanding.
It's kind of funny. I went there just the other night because
Aw.
my stepdaughter had never been there, and
Oh,
my wife said, "Let's go there." So we went and didn't realize on one side of the restaurant we were sitting there. Other side of the restaurant was my daughter sitting with my ex-wife. So the whole restaurant was
that's
it was a lot of
funny.
Calais there.
Oh
Let's just say
boy.
it was kind of funny.
I will say Joe Mama's the Reuben is on point, and then Martha Ann's, of course, the pork chop, and then the smash burger, and just basically everything you order.
Now, he's gonna kill me because for some reason I just got brain.
I know,
Now,
me too.
forgive me, I just fell down a flight of
Yeah, it's
steps
okay.
into a wall. Joe is his name.
Joe.
Yep,
Joe Mama's, that makes sense.
yep, Joe Mamas.
See, that makes sense. Nah, he's a good guy.
He's a
He's
great
an
guy.
outstanding guy, and his food is wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah.
The pork. Have you ever had the steak there?
No.
Oh, it's so delicious.
Really?
Well, everything that I've had there, I haven't had anything bad.
No, it's not possible
You
because
know,
everything's well thought out. Everything is delicious.
yeah, and it's just done with love. And
Yeah, it is. Oh, you can tell.
yeah, I'm looking forward to in East Brainerd. They're building like that little area like Cambridge and Ottawa.
Oh, nice.
They're building an area like that in East Brainerd, and I'm looking
Cool.
forward to that. That's gonna be cool.
That's gonna be very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
So let's say so you love their smash burger. Any
Mm,
like what odd place that you've been to that you're going like this is different?
odd place.
Yeah, because
Gosh,
I know that you love
different things.
different things. Like
Uh-huh.
for example, I'm gonna give out shout outs to places that I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a place on Main Street called Low Main, and
Mm.
it's called Low Main because it's on Lower Main Street.
Oh,
Okay,
cute.
it has the same. Have you ever heard of Aretha Frankenstein's?
I haven't been there. Can you believe it?
This no, you need to.
I know I need
It
to.
has the same ambiance because when you walk
Cute.
in, uh, as my wife called it, was a punk rock cafe.
Oh, cute.
Yep.
That
Uh,
sounds really cute.
yep. It's kind of funny.
Main Street Meats.
Mainstream Meats is pretty good. Eric does a
Oh
great
my
job.
gosh.
Yeah. I'm just realizing that ringing that you hear means it's time for Ed to shut his phone off next time. Which I always do.
Ed.
Which I always do. But that I'm just gonna ignore it.
That's
But
fine.
anyway,
Yeah.
but on Lo Mein,
Mm-hmm.
so imagine a burger with some type of Indian fusion.
Ooh, I love Indian food now.
Okay, so it's not totally Indian,
Mm.
but like they're so proud of their burger that they don't want you to change it, and you go up there like this thing, you'll know. Why don't you just have it the way we make it? It's perfect. It's beautiful. It's the way it's been doing. Well, it's amazing. Their kimchi is good. Everything they do over there is amazing.
Toto's.
Toto's.
I am a sushi fiend. I love sushi, and Toto's is like blows it out of the water for me.
Yeah.
Love Toto's.
Yeah, there's so many secret spots in Chattanooga, and that I know as a chef you probably appreciate.
Mhm.
Like if you walked into Lo Mein, you're not in Paris, France. You're more like in like New York and some little neighborhood that has the
Mhm.
best food in the world. That's the feeling that it gives me. You
Mm.
walk in, there's retro TV on.
Mhm.
You never know what type of music. It might be punk rock, or it might be Bach.
That's fun. That's fun.
The neighbor comes over and hands out menus.
Oh my gosh, I love it. That's hilarious. I got to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite places in Chattanooga, and like I
Very
said,
cool.
always deserving of a big shout out. Now, going, I want to fall back a little bit more on networking because
Sure.
you know I what type of people or what type of businesses do you think should like attend something like Morning Cup,
Hmm.
networking, and or do any type of networking? And what's something that's the pros and cons of any networking meeting that you would say?
Any networking meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm, anybody who's interested in free networking with no expectations and no rules needs to come to Morning Cup Networking,
Yeah.
because a lot of people make a lot of connections there, and I will never charge anything for networking. I don't, in my opinion, I don't feel that it's necessary to charge for networking because you can do it for free anyways. You can do one-on-ones. So I'm not bashing anybody, but I'm just saying in my opinion, and that's why I started this, is because I don't like rules.
Hmm.
And I don't think it's necessary, in my opinion, for me to pay for networking. Now, if you do go to a group where you pay for networking and you get business out of it, that's fantastic. Do it. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
So mine is free. It's every week, and we just have a great time.
Well, that's awesome. What type of businesses go to morning networking?
So we have financial planners, realtors, we have bankers, we have, well, event planners,
Yeah.
we've got
Media studios.
media studios, we have moving company, we have, gosh, I wish I had the list in
A
front of me. There's
printer.
probably about 30 different businesses that go.
We have travel agents.
Travel
Can't
agents.
forget a printer that comes in
No,
late every
our
time.
printer's amazing. I love him so much. He's hilarious. He kind of cuts up a little bit. We have business coaches, with
Yep.
Bart, and um just gosh, oh, we have a home inspector. We have a guy that does scuba. He has a scuba shop. And solar, there's another one that does like the solar
See, he does both, I
electricity. Yeah, he
believe.
does both. Yeah. We got everything.
Yeah. Every
Yeah, we got a lot. And it's not, if we have one event planner, we have another one, that's fine. If we have one chef like me and then we have another one come in, that's fine. Everybody's got their own genre of things that they do and specialties that they do. So it's okay to have more than one of the same business.
so, I'm gonna be a little, you know, I don't know. I'm gonna, ask you what's your opinion when it comes to stuff like this, doing podcasts and people having podcasts and getting on media.
Mhm.
You think that's very helpful for the business?
100%, because you're reaching thousands. I don't know how many, but thousands of people all in one shot. And I think that's very helpful. For me personally, like I was on this and that for about a year and a half with James Howard doing cooking segments. They would come to my house with the team and they would shoot there, or I'd go in studio and we shoot live. That was a lot of fun. I believe in media for sure. I think it's really important to get out there and get into the media, dip into the media. I used to work at a radio station in sales. It was J103, the Christian radio station, and they,
I didn't know you worked at J103.
for about 5 years, or about 4.5, 5 years, and they reach thousands and thousands of people from like 4 different states. Plus, they're all over the world because they have their app and you can listen live. I've listened live in Greece, in Italy. I've listened live, to J103 on their app. So you're reaching the millions actually on that radio. So that's great too. So this is fantastic. It's local. I love it. And you're going to reach tons and tons of people here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that I've realized with this show, once I put it on Facebook, everybody's telling me, "Oh yeah, they're sharing it, they're sharing it,
I
they're
saw,
sharing."
yeah.
We need to get more people in the studio. They go like, "Hey, you need to do your own
Hmm.
show."
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but you're doing your own show. You don't know who's going to see it or
You
who's
should
going to
do a
refer
cooking. You
you.
should do a cooking show.
I would love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do something fun.
Hey, I know the guy behind this
You know a guy,
wall.
you got a guy.
I got a guy right behind this wall that
Right on as well.
you talk to him about doing a cooking show. I don't think he has a cooking show, on Area 52. I could be wrong.
Mm,
You know, I try to check up on all the stuff that's on the station because
yeah.
you could watch this on YouTube where my channel is, or you could watch it on Area 52, their TV station, which is pretty
Awesome.
cool.
That's
you know?
wonderful.
So if people wanted to get in touch with you
Mhm.
personally,
Yeah.
how would they do it?
You can go to my Dishin with Dawn Facebook page, Dishin apostrophe with Dawn, DAWN. And or you could just call me 706-618-4969. Just call me if you want to reserve something. We can do a cooking class. We could do a sit down to French, Italian, Greek, Moroccan, just about, Mexican, just about any ethnicity you can think of. I love to cook. And so I'm very excited about teaching people to cook or just cooking for people and letting them just sit back and enjoy. You don't have to cook. You don't have to clean up, nothing. I'll just come into your house and or your events and just do it all.
Yeah, like I said, I am so looking forward to it. You know,
We're gonna have fun.
yeah, I think it's going to be great because the ages of my stepdaughters are 19, 16, and 12, and
Oh,
that 12-year-old,
that's cute.
she is going to be the one that is going to be soaking it all in
Oh
and
my
talking.
gosh.
Every week at that age, they're talking about like what are we going to do now. At one point, she was going to be a surgeon. One point, she was going to, of course, when your mom's a doctor and all that stuff, you have that big influence.
Mhm.
But man, she really loves to cook.
We gotta tap into that and nurture that.
Yep.
She could be your retirement plan.
Well, I want to go ahead and thank you for coming in
Thank you
today.
for having me.
And thank you for tuning in. Again, we're at Area 52 Studio over here in Ringo, Georgia. Area 52 Media, and my name is Ed Calais, and I'm with Truly Effortless Events. You could go to talktruly.com, like and subscribe. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, and as well as TikTok. Thank you again for joining us, and have an amazing day.